Hi there, welcome back. This week's video is all about helping you understand the stages of change. Did you know there are stages? There absolutely are, and until you understand that there really are different levels and stages to change, whether you're talking about changing your diet or changing your exercise routine, whatever it is, when we know that we're in a certain stage, we can ask ourselves, what do I need to do in order to help myself go on to the next stage? So we can not only continue progressing, but be aware of where you are and not try to jump too far ahead, because that is going to set us up for some disappointments and some failures. We don't want to set ourselves up for that. We want to set ourselves up for success. So I'm excited to share this with you today. So if this is your first time seeing these videos, welcome. My name is Danielle Dinkelman. I'm a national board certified health and wellness coach, and I'm a plant-based nutrition educator. I do these videos every single week inside my YouTube channel and my free private Facebook group. They're both called Healthy Living with Danielle Dinkelman. If you haven't joined us over there already, we'd love to see you there. Come on over, subscribe on YouTube, or join us in the Facebook group, and we'd love to have you join the conversation. So today we're talking about this idea that's, what stage of change are you in? Now, you may not even think that this is important, but I'm telling you, it is the foundation of what National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coaches learn in our training. I've done 3 levels of training with this health and wellness coaching field, and I can tell you it is extremely evidence-based. And one of the bodies of research that we base a lot of our understanding of behavior change on is distilled really well in this book. It's called Changing to Thrive, and it's by James and Janice Prochaska. They're both PhDs and are kind of the godfather and the godmother of behavior change. Because here's the thing, when we think about changing, we think all about action. We think, I just need to do this thing. And then we beat ourselves up, and we're really hard on ourselves, and we're really hard on other people, frankly, about just not diving in and getting the work done. But here's the thing. How many stages of change do you think there are? According to the Prochaska's research, there are 5 stages of change. 6 stages if you consider the last stage, which would be maybe kind of being done changing and the work is done and you're kind of in completion mode with that. But at least 5 stages of change. And guess what? The first stage is not action. You don't get to action until actually the 4th stage. Can you believe that? So what are we supposed to be doing before we get to action to help us actually get to the point where we're ready? We're ready to make those changes. It's where we try to jump into action before we're ready that we set ourselves up for failure. And honestly, we set other people up for failure as well. So let's dive into this. I want to share with you what the stages are. So stage 1 is, actually I'm just going to tell you the names of each of them. So stage 1 is pre-contemplation. And I know these sound like big words, but just stick with me for a minute. Stage 2 is contemplation. Stage 3 is preparation. Stage 4 is action. Stage 5 is maintenance. And then if we include that 6th stage, the Prochaskas call it termination. I like to call it completion because termination it's not a very pleasant word. So 5 or 6 stages, right? Okay, so let me dive into a little bit of what each of these stages looks like, because I want you to be able to have a specific thing in mind that you're trying to change. Maybe it's transitioning to a whole food plant-based lifestyle. Maybe it's you're trying to manage your stress in healthier ways. Maybe it's getting to bed on time and waking up on time and having enough sleep, getting like 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Whatever it is, I want you to think of what you're trying to change, and I want you to see if you can identify what stage of change you are in right now. All right? So here we go. What is pre-contemplation? Pre-contemplation, before contemplating, before even thinking about changing, that's when we're just going on our merry way and we don't even realize there's anything that really needs to be changed. Does that make sense? So you might notice this actually a lot in other people around you when you are actively making changes. For example, if you have discovered plant-based nutrition and you're super excited and you're making all these changes in the way that you're eating, You may be a little confused as to why everyone else is not yet doing the same thing you're doing, because to you it just makes so much sense. And I was there too. And the fact of the matter is that a lot of us don't even realize that we need to change the way that we eat. The way that we eat is fine. The way that we eat is the way that everybody else eats. Like it's a non-issue. That is the pre-contemplation stage of change. And you do have to start there, right? Can you think back to when you first learned about plant-based nutrition? Think about where you were before. That was pre-contemplation. It wasn't even on your radar. Okay, it's an important stage to recognize, because if you want to help someone change and move into action eventually that is still in pre-contemplation, you need to find ways to help them even recognize that this might be something that they want. All right, so that's that first stage, is pre-contemplation. So we move out of pre-contemplation and into contemplation just by recognizing that, maybe there is something about my status quo right now that I don't love. Maybe this isn't the best way to be living. And at this point, you have no idea really what the solution would be or what another way would be, but you think, the way I'm living right now actually isn't serving me, and you can see that something's off. Okay, that moves us into contemplation. This is where we start asking those hard questions of, well, what does need to change, and why doesn't this work? And if this isn't working, then what else is out there? It's a time to ask a lot of questions, and it's a time to figure out, what do you want and what's available, what's possible out there. Contemplation is just a stage of asking those questions and exploring. Okay, this is really also where this is where research happens. This is where you dive down that rabbit hole of Netflix documentaries, and you just start absorbing a lot of information. And that is what takes you into preparation. That's that third stage. In preparation, that's where we're getting a little more concrete, we're making a plan. We're taking the information and the answers that we found in our contemplation, and now we're actually putting it into a thought and into a plan. And we're not ready to act yet. We're just considering, well, if I wanted to do this, these are the things that I would need to be thinking through or doing first. Does that make sense? So we're in preparation mode. So honestly, this is where I come in as a health coach often, is people have they've done the research, they're wanting to make changes, and they're trying to come up with, how do I even go about doing this? They're making their plan, and that's what I do a lot of, is helping people create that plan. So once we choose a course of action in that preparation stage, now we're ready to act. We're ready to start doing it. We're ready to, like in the nutrition realm, we're ready to start phasing out animal-based foods, and we're ready to start experimenting with plant-based foods. We're ready to take action. Action is definitely the stage of change that most people are most familiar with. It's the tricky one. Again, this is where I live a lot as a health coach, is helping people take action in a way that's not overwhelming. Because here's the thing that I should mention about all of these stages of change. It's not linear. It's not even a stair step. The Prochaskas, these PhDs that have really researched this and distilled this into some really useful information for us as wellness coaches, they see it as a spiral, and that at any point you can drop back down to contemplation. Maybe you try and you're in action and things are going well for a minute, but then you burn out and you think, maybe this isn't for me, and you drop back down to that stage 2, and you start asking questions a lot, and then you need to go find answers, and then you need to make a plan all over again, and we make our way back up the spiral. So that's really important to recognize. So after action, action means that you are actively trying something new for anything from 0 to 6 months. Yeah, it takes 6 months of consistent action before social scientists say that now we are in the fifth stage of change, which is maintenance. And that's saying, hey, you have a new habit that you've created with consistent action, and now it's just a matter of maintaining that course of action that you've chosen, maintaining that habit that you've designed and created. This is a tricky part because, again, even in maintenance, you can slip back down. And you know how easy this is. I actually really love the number of 6 months because think of all of the things that change. If you watched last week's video, we talked about the 6 sources of influence. We talked about how things outside of us really do influence our ability to make healthy choices. And think of the weather. Think of the seasons. How often have you had a really awesome exercise routine and then it all gets derailed when winter comes around, right? So it's really important to still be very mindful and active in that maintenance stage of change to see what is it going to take to continue in these healthy habits. All right, and then that final stage of change is completion. When you can get to the point that it really has, that behavior or that way of life has really assimilated into who you are and how you live your day-to-day life. So I've been eating, for example, a whole food plant-based diet for 3.5 years now. And now it's second nature. It's not something I have to effort and make a lot of conscious decisions about. And it's just become a big part of who I am and how I live my day-to-day life. And the people around me know that. I have designed my environment around me to support me in that. And it's not something that I'm derailed from. Like, does that make sense? So I hope you can see that there's this whole progression, and I love that image of the upward spiral of these 5 or 6 stages of change. So I'm curious, what behavior were you having in mind, and what stage of change are you at with that behavior change that you're trying to make? I'm really curious. So please feel free, if you want to reach out to me. I'm on Instagram. You can message me there. My handle is @dd.healthcoach. I would love to strike up a conversation, or if you're comfortable, feel free to drop some comments below and let me know what were your thoughts on this, and could this help you move through your lifestyle change a little more gracefully and with a little bit more awareness. I love having lenses to look through, frameworks to understand, and principles to live by. So I hope you found this helpful. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions, or if you're looking for more support on making your plan or taking action consistently and creating those healthy habits. That's what I'm here to do and to help you with. In the meantime, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Healthy Living with Danielle Dinkelman, or put that in the search box in Facebook and come and find our free private Facebook group. We'd love for you to join our community over there. In the meantime, we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.